So hello everybody, welcome to the session on productivity strategies. I am Amanda Cuda and I'm really excited to have you here and pass on some information that I've learned. I have been obsessing about this subject for far too long now, and I will explain how I got to that soon. And I'll just start by, I want to share a little graphic with you guys that I found that I really love. So I'd like to schedule a time management seminar on my calendar as soon as I can find the time to buy a calendar. And I feel like that is a lot of us. There are just times when we felt so overwhelmed. We don't know what's going on. There's so many things going on around us. I'm not sure how to organize it all. And then I hear the awesome story that everybody tells us. There is just not enough time in the day. And I have definitely felt that way so much. And also it's a new year. We're 8 days into the new year. This is the time of the year where everybody is setting goals for the new year. And I want to ask, what goals have you set for yourself? And 8 days in, how are they working out for you? Where are you? Have you started them? Are they still just the same New Year's Eve thoughts? And what do you need to do to start them if you haven't already? So a little bit about me. Firstly, the funny accent. I'm from Australia. I don't want that to be distracting through the whole presentation. I'm not from England or New Zealand. I'm from Australia. And I used to be a travel agent. I worked in a corporate travel agent role. So it was a 9-to-5 job. I liked it. I went in, I did my work. It was very structured. And then I left. But I decided in 2012 that I wanted to make a lot of changes in my life and starting by changing careers. And so from there, I wanted to study health and wellness and wanted to become a health coach. I left the travel industry and I joined a health and wellness company that put on events. I have a diploma in events management. And I was loving my new job, all the challenges it was bringing, but adding study with a new job, I was really overwhelmed. It was way too much for me to manage. I didn't know what I was doing half the time. I was trying to, get my study done in time, get my work done, and doing events, I was constantly on deadlines. And not only that, then I also decided I wanted to, start my own practice as well in the health and wellness industry. So just juggling so many things. And I was in a peer group session with my health coaching student friends. And I asked them, what is it that they do to get better at time management? Because it was just a unicorn to me. I had no idea. One of them suggested to follow Darren Hardy, and he's become one of my mentors. And he's amazing. You can follow him. I'll share at the end of my presentation a little bit how you can go and learn some time management from him as well. But daily things. These are daily mindset things. And I learned a lot from him. And then I went and studied his insane productivity course. So it was to achieve insane results fast and sanely. So I really loved Darren Hardy's course on that. So I have way too much content about the subject that I'm going to try and condense into a 40-minute session. So today we're talking about productivity strategies. I didn't want to call it time management. I wanted to call it strategies because by the end of the session today, I would like you to have 2 to 3 strategic ideas that you can start to implement, things that are going to work for you in all areas of your life. So not just in your professional life as well. So we always have too many things floating around our head. And then we have too many things coming at us. We have emails going off. We've got these, computer pockets now that we've got texts coming at us, social media, so many notifications. And then you're wondering, where did the day go? How do people use their 24 hours, the people that you see doing the things that you wish you could be doing? And I want to ask you the question of, have you ever sat down and accounted for every hour in your day? So type in the chat if that is you, if you've actually sat down, type in a 1 and say, yes, I actually know where all of my time goes. Or type in a 2 if you have no idea where that goes. And you've got to start by, have you accounted for just the normal, like managing yourself for the day, showering, eating? You've got to eat 3 meals a day minimum, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, drinking liquids, driving, all the things that you have to do, and then your family as well. So we seem to be busy all day long, but busy doing what? And we just live in this over-consumption world. But like I said, we've got things coming at us. We have no problems consuming though. We love to watch TV, movies. We're like obsessed with what's going on in the news, especially this week, shopping, food, eating. I keep saying those things. And then we numb ourselves with addictions because it just gets too much, too overwhelming, and we don't know what to do. But while we're consuming, what are we achieving? So there are distractions that we have in our lives. And I want to start by talking about multitasking, because who here, type a 3 in the chat if you think you are an amazing multitasker. Like, do you think that that is something that you're just like, yes, best multitasker in the world. I've got this. I can do 5 things at once and I can nail it all out. But really, when you get to the end of that session of multitasking, what have you actually accomplished? Have you just done a little bit of everything but completed nothing? Or have you actually completed everything that you are trying to do? So when we're multitasking, we are switching, and we want to avoid switching because that means we've got our brains going just on and off, and it's not something that we are actually designed to do. And if you want to do this example, try reading something while listening to something, and then see how well you do picking up the information from both the reading and listening. It doesn't work out that very well. I've done the exercise myself. So on average, we are distracted every 3 minutes, and it takes us 11 minutes to regain concentration. And there are time vampires out there. And at the start of COVID, I've been working from home since 2013. So this wasn't a new space for me last year, but it was for my husband. He has been working from home since February last year. I want to count down the days until I can send him back into the office, but unfortunately we don't know when that will be. It won't be before June. And it's so frustrating because I will wake up and I'm like, I've got this. These are my goals today. This is what I want to get done. And then he'll come and annoy me. And then we also got a cat at the start of COVID, and then she'll come and meow. And then the phone will ring, and then things will happen. And there's just so many time vampires. And the other thing is, you really don't want to fall into other people's agendas. We really want to go, okay, what are your priorities? What is important to you? And how do we say no to other people in a nice way? So one of my favorite quotes that I always keep in the back of my mind is by Jim Rohn. If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into somebody else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. So when we're looking at our lives and what we're wanting to achieve, whose plan are we following? Are we following what we want for ourselves? Or are we following what somebody else has designed to help them? So always keep that in mind when you're doing your planning. And What I love to do is I like to get people to define their values. So pop in the chat your email address, because I've got a handout that I can email to you at the end of this, which has a few of these slides I'm going to be sharing. And it's really important that before you can even start planning, that you know what your values are. And so there are different things in here. You know, is ambition one of them? Is, you know, charity one of them? Is, you know, are you looking to focus on your relationships? What are your values? So I always say go through a list of values, and you can always literally Google this list of values and find your top 10 values. And then from your top 10, then you know, refine it to what are your top 5 values. Because as you're going to go through this list, you're like, well, you know, courage is one, creation, and, you know, looking at the list on a second screen over here, productivity, spirituality, and you just start to like tick off all these ones. But you then want to refine your list again to what it really is. And from there, I also want people to know the circle of life. So this is also really important, because I can't just say we're going to just do productivity strategies purely based on your career or business, because that's not all our life is. Our life is so much more than that. We have a social life. You know, we have our health that we need to maintain. We have a home environment. You know, I'm a certified health coach, so I will always talk about home cooking, the importance of that, physical activity, joy, social activities, working on spirituality. The first time when I did this circle, and you can see the example how to do that on the side, the first time I did this was my spirituality was the lowest on here. And I really had to take a step back and think about that. And I have spent quite a lot of time actually making my spirituality one of the strongest of this. And moving to America was fantastic, because I feel like I've really gotten a chance to work on that a lot more. So have a look at this and use this table to work out, okay, what are the areas in my life where I'm not so great towards the outer circle. So if it's in the inner circle, that's a low score. The outer circle is the highest score. And then from there, once you do your little map of the circle, I want you then to look at each of those different areas and try and think of at least 3 things per that area of your life that needs improvement. You know, is it your health? What are your health goals? I healed myself naturally from Hashimoto's last year, because there was no way I was going to take a pill for the rest of my life. I watched my mum go down that journey, and it wasn't a journey I wanted to embark on. So I went and looked at how can I heal myself naturally. You know, Hashimoto's, it also throws out your weight. So then I had to do things about my weight. And juicing is one of the things I love to do. I love juicing, and I pretty much live on vegetables and fruit. That's literally, I have a plant-based diet, because that was the best thing to work for me for my thing. And I'm just going to see if I can mute. Okay, there we go. All right. So sorry for the sound distraction there, but that's all good. All right, so we want to create this roadmap for you. Because when you know where you want to go in the different areas of your life, you can create that roadmap. Because the one thing you can't Google is to Google a roadmap for your life. Now, you can Google different bits and pieces. You can Google, you know, how to have a career, how to do business. You can separately Google relationships, but you can't Google a complete roadmap destination for your life. So this is things where you have to start to go, okay, this is where I want to be. And then from once you have that clear vision, then we can put that all together and achieve some real results to get you there. Okay, so, and this is why I always want people to define your own success. What is success to you? Don't be writing down on those previous goals what success might mean to your partner or to your children, to your parents, to your, God forbid, in-laws, or even your colleagues. What does success mean to you? Because if you know what that is for your life, then you'll be able to work it out from there. And I want to then give you a roadmap for attending a conference or a fair like today, seminars, whatever you want to call them. They're essentially the same educational learning tools. It's really easy to go to a conference, be really inspired, and then walk away and do nothing with the information. Like type a 4 in the chat if that's been you, or you've attended something and you're just like, that was so good, and you feel pumped. Your energy is so pumped up for 24, 48 hours, it starts to go down. 72 hours, it starts to go down. By the 4th day, you're like, I don't remember what the information was. So one of the things in my handouts that I can pass on to people is a action plan. And I love this action plan. I did this as a physical thing, so I wanted to show you what I do. I have 10 columns here, and it lists all the top 10 ideas I've learned from that conference. So I always, take so many notes. Here is my current conference book. It is already covered from notes from last year, but once it goes in the book and it gets put away, it's hard to flick through and go back and see what it is. So you want those 10 top ideas to be jumping out at you. And then once you have the top 10 ideas, narrow down to like the top 3 favorites. And then from there, focus on one. What is the one biggest idea that if you implemented that could create some awesome changes in your life? And I also want to talk about learning a new skill. I really love this. So it actually takes 990 hours to complete a PhD. Now, I don't want to go to college and get a PhD. That's not where I am in my life. That is actually incongruent with my goals and visions and what I want to achieve. I'm just reading in the chat here from Colleen. She's write in a notebook and forget it is what happened to me and get busy with other things. Yeah, we just do. We just totally forget about what's going on. And DJ, if you want to interrupt me for any comments that come through, I'm really good for that as well. So if you want to, instead of, maybe a PhD isn't what's congruent in your life as well, but this is a great way to learn a new skill. They say to go grab 5 books and 3 audios of some kinds. CDs and DVDs, they are still out there. They're not very popular these days. My laptop doesn't even have a place to play them. And then you've got audiobooks. I love audiobooks and also podcasts as well. So, and then attend a seminar, and that's attend a seminar on that topic. Learn from somebody, but make sure when you're learning from them that you pull out, like I keep this with me. So I do my own printouts when I go to a conference. I'm a very unique person. I will take my notebook so I can write things extensively, and then I will pop them on my sheet of paper as I go. And in my notebook, I will write, a 1 beside it. So I know that that one is a great idea. That's going to correspond to my piece of paper. So if I want to get more notes and details, I know I have a cross-reference now. And then with your books and your audio, spend 30 minutes of reading. So set a timer for reading though. This is so important because if you get really stuck into it and you're like, oh, maybe I could smash out 45 minutes of reading today. Don't do that, because tomorrow when you're really busy and you have things to do, your brain will go, no, 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 that took you 45 minutes yesterday, so we're not going to do that today. Be really diligent of only training yourself to do no more than 30 minutes. Now, if you could only do 10 or 20 minutes because tomorrow is really busy, do that. It's okay to do less, never do more. It's okay to do less reading, never do more reading, because you don't want to sabotage yourself from creating this new habit. And then 30 minutes of listening. What is dead time that you can actually listen? So it could be while you're getting ready in the morning. It could be driving, if maybe you do drive to work, or maybe you have to drive to do other things. So driving is a good time. I like to listen in the morning when I'm getting ready and while I'm making breakfast. That is my best time for listening. And then in the evening, if I am cooking dinner and my husband isn't around, I use that time and I utilize it to listen to some more things as well. So always make sure that you're getting this done. And if you focus on this new skill, that can be literally your maybe not quite 998 hours, but maybe not that far off to learn that new skill. And this is one of my favorite books that I love. So if you haven't read this one, and this is a skill, productivity is a skill you wanted to excel in this year, add this book to your list. This is called The 12-Week Year, and as it says down the bottom of the title, get more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months. And the concept is, it's a complete mindset overhaul. It becomes that you treat a day like a week becomes a month, and then 12 weeks become a year. And in the book, it gives you tips, tools, and strategies to also help plan out your goals so you can achieve these. And I've done this and it's been really successful. And you might think, well, there's actually 52 weeks in a year, and 12 by 4, if you're doing the math, is 48. So that means we have a 13th bonus week, and that bonus week is your review week or your celebration week. It can be either or both. It tends to be a bit of three things for me. It tends to be a celebration, a review, and also a rest, because I think we don't give ourselves enough rest. And I will be talking about burnout because I have done that many times. And so this is a really good book I want you guys to add in. It has really good tips, tools, and strategies. As I said, I have so much content in a short amount of time I'm trying to deliver to you guys. So I want to give you some things that you can also go away with and keep practicing the skill. One of my favorite rules, well, habits. This is one of my rules for habits. So it takes 21 days to build a new habit. Now, it also 21 to 28, everyone's different, to build a new habit. And it also takes that same amount of time to break a habit. So what are habits? Habits are routines. And when you can change your habits, you can change your life. So maybe your habit might be that you spend 2 hours binge watching Netflix when you could spend those 2 hours working on a project or a goal that you want to achieve. So have a look at what are your habits, because we can certainly make a routine of watching Netflix, but are we making a routine around, say, exercise, or getting in the kitchen and cooking more healthy foods, or even maybe just meal planning? So whatever it is, or maybe there's a skill for your business or your career that you're wanting to work on. Public speaking is an amazing skill. So have a look at what your habits are. And this is another great book. I'm not going to really dive into this book because of time constraints, but The Habit Factor is a book that I read in conjunction with the 12-Week Year. And this will also give you some really, really good tools to form new habits as well. And the Habit Hub. I love this app. This app is so awesome. I've been using this app. And you can see you check off each day a little green, and it can go red. If you fail, the dot can be red. And I use this for yoga, for my yoga practice, to make sure that I'm getting, to doing at least 4 yoga sessions a week. Also with my reading, I tick it off to make sure that I've done my maximum of 30 minutes of reading per day. I do this with juicing because I love to juice, but sometimes chaotic things happen when you have multiple people working in the home. So I use this to tick off that I've done a fresh celery juice each day. So this is a really good app. Now I put in the bottom corner $5.99 per year. So it's a really inexpensive app to use. I put approximately because I know that's what my subscription is going to renew at. So I hope that stays the same for other people. But this is a fantastic app to get. I highly recommend it, and it's so much fun to use. And are you one of those people that at the end of the day, if you've done something that isn't in your calendar, you're writing in your calendar just so you can check it off? Like I love checking things off. And so I really love this app because it's something else I get to check off. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some planning tools. So I've given you, look at your circle of life, things that you want to achieve. And then other things you might want to do from there is just do some mind mapping. It's really great, especially in career and business, to do mind mapping about things you want to do. It's something that we all got taught in school, but as adults, it's something that we don't do. And mind mapping is so much fun. I really love putting my pen to paper. For me, if I can put my pen to paper, it just helps a creative process work. I also journal every day just to also help with those creative processes. So the first thing I do in the morning, before I will talk to anybody, before I look at my phone, I will literally journal before I talk to my husband as well. And I will journal for those creative processes. So I journal. The journaling helps me. Sometimes my journal turns into a mind map of that day. Like I'll have a new idea spark. And I'm like, okay, let me map out a few things. And then I want to see where it fits in my priorities because I don't want to just be giving myself more things to do than I need to. And the note cards that you can see there on the right, the note cards are a fun thing to do with what you've learned from your conference. So once you've filled in your 10 things that you have done, write them out on these note cards. So get yourself a set and you can write the idea on the front, and then on the back, you can write additional notes. And then with that idea on the front, then you can rearrange it into your most important priorities. And then you can stack them back up together, and then you just work on the top. And so the others will be there. They're coming, but you can only literally, and you should really only focus on one thing at a time. So there are some fun tools to use. And airplane time. If you only take one thing away from the session, take away this airplane time. This was an absolute game changer in my life when I learned this. And it made so much sense. So when you're on a plane, people know as well, if you're like me and you post on Facebook, I am currently flying from Phoenix to Florida. So people know I'm on an airplane. You can't contact me when I'm on an airplane. Now, no one is going to ever be mad or upset with you that they couldn't get through to you because you're in an airplane. And the same if you were in a meeting, like if you're in a Toastmasters meeting, a work meeting, a business meeting. If you're in a meeting, what do we do? On an airplane, you have to put your phone on, completely shut it off. There are no notifications that are coming through. And that should be the same if you're in Toastmasters as well. You really shouldn't be on Toastmasters looking at, oh, Sally sent me a message. She commented on my Facebook post. No, you should be solely focused on that meeting. And what you can do is take that into your projects. So when I'm working on my projects, I will put myself into airplane time, and I will turn off all notifications on my phone. And people might get frustrated with me, but that's okay. It's my airplane time. I don't need to fall into their agenda because I have my own goals that I'm trying to set and achieve. So one of the things I also love doing is I even hate touching my phone, is I have a kitchen timer. And this sits on my desk, and I set the time that I have that I want to achieve my goal. So I've given you a couple examples here. I like to go for the 90-minute sprints, doing at least three 90-minute sprints per week. And then during that, other days I'll try and do 25 minutes, 5-minute breaks. Depends on the task and what I'm doing. I have a back pain that I'm always managing from scoliosis. So for me to sit down long periods of time can be hard. So I do actually have to get up and stretch, do some jumping jacks, do some things for movement so the pain doesn't intensify. But then the 90 minutes, I really try and just sit there and go, okay, this is my task for this, and I'm just going to try and focus for 90 minutes. But there's other tasks where it can just be a 25-minute task. So I will set this kitchen timer and I'll put it on and it will sit on my desk. And if my husband comes to try and interrupt me during my airplane time, I don't even look at him. I simply pick up the kitchen timer and point it at him. And he will come and he will look at, oh, okay, she has 18 minutes left until her time is done. And he knows that I am solely focused on a project during that time, and please do not interrupt me. And he's not offended by it. He knows that this is how I set up my schedule. He hates time management. He's an engineer. He has other things going on. But for me, this is really important in my life. And in our relationship, he has come to respect that is just how I operate. And especially if I'm working on a Toastmasters project, on this project alone, last night I was putting the finishing touches together. And he had finished, he went back to work after dinner as well. And then when he finished work, he came over and he just peeked at my timer to go, oh, okay, she's got this amount of time left. I'll just sit quietly in the lounge until she's done. And then, I'll engage with her after that. And he'll even set times on his phone just to know when my timer is going to go up, when he can engage with me. So be really diligent about your airplane time. And create buffer time as well in your calendar, because buffer time is life. That's my lifetime. So again, there are times when my husband and I do have to do things together, or there are times where I have to go feed the cat, or the cat needs attention, or whatever it is in your life. If you've got kids, or if you're working, you've got to be on call for colleagues to answer to you. Create that buffer time. I don't like to make my calendar just fall back to back to back to back, because that is so unrealistic. And also working from home, it's good to get up and stretch. It's good to go do things. It's not a bad thing that you get the luxury of being at home and going to put a load of clothes on in the washing machine. Create that buffer time so you know that you can get what you want done, and there are time for the other things as well. And sprint and recover. Like I mentioned, I burnt myself out trying to do this at the start. I was literally filling my calendar back to back to back to back, and just wanting to be on the go from the moment I woke up until the moment I went to sleep. And it really didn't take me long until I burnt out. And if you look at what professional athletes do, they have a sprint and recover, where they will work on focusing on, whether it is triathlon or whatever sport you're practicing for. They will have training sessions where they are going all at it, and that for that period of time is that they're sprinting in that training session, and they know that recovery is just as important as the training. You need time for the muscles to do their thing. So always make sure that you plan sprint and recover time. For me, Friday nights are always my recover time. I'm just so on the go all week, and then the middle of the week, I need to make sure I have recovery time. So make sure you have your recovery time, and that recovery time, that can be your Netflix binge time, but plan it out. Plan to watch Netflix. Don't let Netflix take over and plan you. These are just different little things that you can do to shift your mind. And treat your blocks, your airplane time, like you would a doctor's appointment. If you make a doctor's appointment, you know you have to turn up. You have to turn up at that time. And if you don't, you would have to pay the exorbitant fee that you would be charged for missing that appointment. So make sure that when you put it into your calendar, that you're treating it just as important as a doctor's appointment. So if there are any questions or anything so far, I'm just going to pause for a second if anybody wants to say anything, just so I can have another drink and monitor my throat. Okay, nothing? All right, I'm going to keep going. Okay, so now we want to create our action plan. So does anybody have any ways of how they are creating their schedule? Do you use an online diary? Do you use a physical diary? Do you use both? Does anybody want to share what it is that they do? Okay, Colleen says she uses both. DJ uses a woven calendar. I have never heard of a woven calendar. Okay, Peter, he has his iCal on his iPhone. Awesome. Okay, I like to use both. I definitely use both, and I'll tell you the reasons why I use both. And it's fine to do, you know, what it's really, you got to find what works for you. So this is just an example of my Google Calendar. I use everything Google. I use, you know, Google, honestly, they owe me a commission for how many times I promote them. So, you know, I love the Google Calendar because I can open it up on my computer. I can open it on my phone. It connects to my Gmail. And then I use all the other Google applications. I use the Drive. I use Google Keep. And then what I also love about it is I have a section of my calendar that is linked to my husband. So my husband hates planning, but there's things that I need him to do, or I might have scheduled lunch with friends or dinner that he needs to attend with me. And so I will put that in our family calendar, and all he needs to do is, he bought us both Google phones, which is great. And he just opens up his phone and he's like, okay, my wife needs me to do this today. So it's great for communication in your relationship. I think, you know, we always talk about communication relationships, and I think the calendar can be a massive point of contention and fighting. So here's sort of like what my calendar looks like, and I will go through at the end of the day, and I will look at, okay, what did I do during that day? And you can see I love colors. It's very color coded, so I don't know if you can, probably really can't read it, but I even put in like when I'm having breakfast. I shower before breakfast, so I didn't put that in. This is just an example because I have privacy of client names that I didn't want to share my real calendar. I'll put in when I schedule lunch, and lunch can be that it can be moved around. Now, I love the online calendar because everything can be moved around except for appointments that are scheduled with clients. And you know, I can move dinner around. You know, I do a lot of networking meetings. So, you know, my Monday night, I have a networking meeting at 7, so I don't get to have dinner until 8. So it's a little bit of a later night dinner, but then I have the flexibility to move it around, and I will move it around during the week as I need to. What I do at the end of every day is, before I switch off and go relax, or whatever that is, go to bed, I will then go and open up my Google Calendar and go, okay, what did I get done today? And I'll fill it out. I'll even put the projects in. And then I'll see, okay, what do I need to do tomorrow? And I'll pop it into my physical diary. And I'll have my physical diary open on my desk. So so when I sit down the next day, I will just actually sit there and see what are my most important things to do that day. It is there. I've already planned it out, and it takes so much stress out of it. And it's such a great thing to do. And also, because we tend to end up having so many tabs on our windows. And I also say, when you're focusing on your 90-minute power block, your sprint block, whatever you want to call it, to close everything on your computer down. And I like to do that because, during the day I will, if I'm working on a project and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to check information there, I need to check information there to collate all the information, then you end up with so many browsers open and it's so overwhelming. So it's really great to just, close everything down when you're doing your power block, but to also have those goals focused in the morning to go, okay, this is great. This is what I'm focusing on today. For me, a lot of this week was just being, right, this presentation, this is what I'm focusing on today. And where did I want to pull different informations from to give you guys the best things that you could have to take away to use throughout the year. So this is my, planning for the next day. Look at your different categories again, seeing what it is that you need to do, and then I write it in my diary. So those things in my diary are the things that must get done that day. Now, I just want to also leave a couple of other planning tools that you can use. So Trello is a really fun one that I like. I like it because you can change the colors. I'm a real visual person. I'm that kinesthetic learning. I like to touch. I like to see the colors. Show me something. Don't just tell me. I need to do it along with you. That's how I like to learn. And Trello is such a great board because, like the Google Calendar where you can move things around, Trello, you can do the same, and you can then create different cards, and you can just YouTube, Trello, you can use it for free. I just have the free version. You can upgrade it for a paid thing for additional tools, but the free version has always been sufficient for me. I think unless you're doing it with big teams, you don't really need to pay for it. But it's just really fun, and you can click on a card and you can add reminders, you can add checklists into the cards, you can move it around, you can create a calendar from that of your project. So I will create calendars in Trello and then see my planning of my goals of what I want to achieve. And then from there, I know I can then just plug that into my Google Calendar as my projects that I want to use. Yeah, DJ saying she uses the free version of Woven. So Woven combines her work and Google Calendars. Oh, that's awesome. That's a really clever tool. DJ, I'll have to check that one out. So Trello is one of my favorite planning tools that I like to use. Another one that you can use is Asana. They look and feel different. They basically operate mostly the same. They might have a slightly different functionalities. For me, I like Trello because I really like the boards. I think you can do boards in Asana as well. Asana was my last job. They had us using it, and it was okay. I did much prefer to use Trello. And so here are just a couple of my mentors and mindset, the other things that you can go away and do additionally into what it is that I want. Thanks, DJ. And so Darren Hardy, as I mentioned before, all these things that I've told you guys about today, I'm completely unaffiliated to. These are just tools that have helped me immensely in my life that I like to share and pass on to people. So Darren Hardy, he has a Darren Daily. If you just literally Google Darren Daily, you can subscribe. And it's a 5-minute video in the morning that I like to listen to as I drink my cup of tea that I have on my desk, and I'll sit and I'll drink my cup of tea, and he'll usually just give me one key idea. And what I really like about Darren is it helps just get my my business creativity flowing for the day, or an aha moment, or he'll talk about, what are you doing to service your clients today, or how are you going with your time management? And he'll challenge you. He'll actually, they're less than 5-minute videos that will challenge you to be his motto is to be better every day. So he wrote the book on the compounding effect, also the entrepreneur roller coaster. As you can see, he has been a major part in my professional development. And also, if you really, really want to take yourself to the next level, YouTube Jim Rohn Sunday Seminar. There's 4 parts by various people. I tried to find an actual one of the links, but there's, just Google Jim Rohn Sunday Seminar. And he is who everybody has learned from. Darren has learned from Jim Rohn. Tony Robbins has learned from Jim Rohn. So you'll see all these people, we all this isn't new information. A lot of this is just great reminders that we need, especially at the start of a new year. And Jim Rohn, the Sunday seminar, I like to listen to this at least a couple of times a year. I'll set aside 4 hours. It's about 4 hours, about an hour per part. And he just really helps you in those all different areas of your life just to get your mind going. And, they always say that the more you can listen to something, you'll always pick up new information. So instead of, making a goal to say, I'm going to read 12 books this year, why don't your goal be to read 3 books this year, but actually reread them, absorb the content, and actually take action from that, instead of falling back into that overconsumption pattern where we're just over-consuming and not achieving. And these are really great ways. And so I will revisit Darren Hardy. I did his Insane Productivity course. I review that every year. Jim Rohn, I like to review that a couple of times a year. So these are the things that I like to do to keep my mind sharp, focused, on point. And then then I'll add different books in, but I don't want to add a new book into my life until I've really become a student and started to master the initial information that I've already heard. And I think that's how we can excel and grow ourselves a lot faster. To be honest, it might seem like you're not doing enough, but trust me, you're doing more than somebody who's just going to read a whole bunch of books and not implement any of the ideas. So that is it from me. This is, again, my name's Amanda Cuda, the Aussie girl living in Phoenix. So if you would like to reach out to me, that is my email address if you have any questions. You can also follow me on Instagram as well. And I think I have maybe 3 minutes left for questions. If anybody has anything they would like to ask me or comment, or even just let other people know that you have a different idea that you like to do, and let us know what that is, because I love sharing and collaborating. It's one of my favorite things to do. Thank you, Peter. Peter said, good stuff. Thank you. Colleen said, great session. Thank you. You guys are welcome. I'm really glad you guys made it and enjoyed the session. I really appreciate you being here.